remember, if you joined, I've been working on my fantasy figures, and today I thought I'd finish some off and get your opinion on the colours that I'm using. So I always like to start my little studio space time with just a bit of cleansing. So I'm using Nag Champa here and Nag Champa Justic. I just like to introduce the elements into my studio. Just let that burn a little bit. Fan it out. That's smoking nicely. Pop that in the holder. That's better. Then we're ready to go. Today's just one of those days where it just is not getting light. And I know that we are not very far away from the winter solstice, or midwinter, or Yule, as us pagans call it in our pagan wheel of the year. So the midwinter is actually the shortest day, the longest night. But the important thing is that it's about the return of the sun. Some people could sit and debate the arguments about where we celebrate the birth of a sun. For us, it's actually the birth of the sun, the big, hot, orange thing in the sky that keeps us all alive, and makes us feel better and makes things grow. And that's why, as pagans, we celebrate the return. So that brings me nicely into my forest fantasy figures. So the first one that I'm working on today is this one. And if any of you remember me making him, I've since added on some elven type ears, which I just need to paint over. So I'm going to do that now. And to do that, I'm just going to select some black paint. And I'm just going to paint over the ear shape that I made with it was like a sort of a guttery kind of clay, and you just sort of draw on. So that's what it looks like before. And then that's with painting. And acrylic dries quite quickly, so I'll be able to show you the whole thing. So just painting around that. There we go. So now he's got little elven ears. And I'm going to finish the finish really is what I want to do today. So the brush that I'm using is this stiff bristle brush, and I need it to be a stiff bristle brush because I'm going to just gently apply some gold paint to that. And what it will do is it'll bring out the features. So he's got some nice features, but the gold will just make it pop a little bit. So if I show you what I mean. So I've just got a bit of gold on the end of the bristles, and I'm just going to just flick. You can see the very fine movement. I don't know if this might be a bit gold actually. I'm just going to add a bit of black. Just dull it down a little bit. That's better. That's better. So now it just brings out his features just a little bit, where the paint sort of lands on the textured parts of the sculpture. Maybe if I do it from this way around, you'll be able to see it a bit better. So I'm just sort of dabbing, just brushing over the edge. Like that. And that's the front, and then that's the back. So you can see that it just adds, it just picks up the colour and the texture and really makes him look quite 3D. I'll show you in a minute once I've finished, and then so you can see what you think. Just a bit on the legs as well. It's not a precise way of painting at all. And then that's the result. So he's just got that golden touch. So what do you think? Do you think he's better now with a bit of gold, or do you prefer the way that he was before? The good thing about acrylic paints is I can just go and paint straight over. If something doesn't look right or I'm not happy, I can just go and add more of a different colour paint. So that's the end result. Let me know what you think to him. This charm here, I have no idea where it came from, but I collect all sorts of bits and bobs, things that would otherwise go in the bin, you know, a broken necklace, apart from a belt, you know, something that just otherwise is totally useless to anybody. And I think, oh, I could incorporate that into a sculpture. So I'm just seeing Vicky. Hi, Vicky, nice to see you. So this, I think it might have come from a charm of some kind. I've no idea. And I just thought it'd look quite good. If he held it, it makes him look like he's got some kind of magical jewel for the forest. So that's figure number 1. Just need to give him a name. I love his antlers. Look at those antlers. Aren't they cool? Did any of you tune in to see what I actually made them from? So I'll tell you. So the inside, the inside is made from some garden wire. And then some of these horns, these are made from Chinese skewers. You know when you get, say, like a satay skewer from the Chinese takeaway? I keep the skewers and I wash them, sand them, dry them, and then cut them up. I've probably got various ones lying around on here somewhere in various states of being cut up. So wire, skewers, and then I use a fabric, so an old t-shirt that I just cut up, otherwise would have gone in the bin or to fabric recycling. And I soak it in a fabric hardener, and then I've wound it around to give that structure. And it's, you know, it's solid, it's absolutely solid, slightly flexible, so he's not going to break in the post, which is another massive boon. So all that I have to do with him now is paint a lacquer over the front. Now I could use a resin, which would give a nice shiny finish to him, and it brings out the gold metallics when I do that. Or I could use a matte PVA based coat, and that will just keep him as a nice matte finish. I think he looks quite nice as a matte finish. So that's this chap. Pop him over there. Now this is one that's pretty much almost finished. I just need to fill in some of the details. So this is my Krampus, and again, he's all made from reclaimed, recycled things. This is part of a plastic plant that was no good anymore. This chain is a necklace that broke. The handcuffs are made from paper. And then again, I've used fabric here. I've used some fur to make his bushy moustache. And there he is. There's his tail there. So I just need to finish painting down where I've got some of the clay pieces. So whilst I'm doing that, I'm just picking out some black acrylic onto my paintbrush, and I'm just going in to see where I can still see some white pieces of clay. Now it doesn't matter too much if there's little bits of white showing, because it could be remnants of snow. Because the Krampus figure, we've now had Krampusnacht or Krampus night, depending on where you're from. There's another name for it. I think one of my YouTube videos actually automatically called it this name, and I can't for the life of me think of what it is. So various different names, and Krampusnacht has been and gone, but it's about winter, and Krampus is the figure that is meant to decide which children have been naughty and which children have been good, and it's all about the balance between, you know, good and evil again. It's probably a little bit about control, maybe. You know, keeping people in line. It's always a popular thing. And heaven forbid we should all run off and do our own thing. We need a nice organised society for everything to work, don't we? Don't want too many free spirits. So that's pretty much that bit. I've just been painting down here where I could see some of the original clay pieces. I think you might need just a bit here. I can still see some of the glue here that I've used to stick these. So I'm going to get another colour. Just going to use green. I mean, these are just really cheap and cheerful acrylic paints for my sculptures. I use really nice oil paints for my oil paintings, but for my sculptures, there's no need to spend a lot of money on, you know, expensive paints. So I'm just going to pick up some green and mix it in with the black, and then I'm just dropping that in the back here where I can see some of the glue. Just twisting round to make sure I've captured it all. I'm just going to take a little bit of that bright greenness away there, just make it a bit more khaki. And just adding a dash of gold to the green, and now I'm going to just move that colour over the back and the leaves. And then just add a little bit of detail just with the gold, just on his shoulders, just to pick up some of the texture there. If I show you from behind what I'm doing. So I'm just dabbing it on, and it just picks up there. Look, you can see there's some texture there. I never knew I could paint backwards. It just gently picks up on the texture. Yeah, that looks fine. Not too much, you don't need loads. Just a bit on his face, a bit on his horns. A little bit across the facial hair. Ah, it looks, that's lovely. That's lovely. Now, when I've just gone there, it looks like now he's just stepped into like a woodland glade, you know, where like the sun comes through and just the sunlight just gently catches. Lovely. Lovely. Mr. Krampus. So he's there, he's finished now. He just needs to dry and a little glaze, and that's him ready. Pop him over there. And the next figure, this is where I want your opinion. So drop in the comments what you think. So this chap, again, I've done him in my greeny foresty style, and I've used real conkers here, but I don't know whether to paint them green or leave them this naturally conker colour. So drop in your comments below whether you think I should leave them natural or paint them a different colour. I'm intrigued to know what you think. And whilst you're commenting, I'm going to paint the back, because I did a bit of acrylic work on him with white acrylic paste, and that now needs to be painted. So I'm going in with my greeny black colour, and I'm just going to paint out the white with this kind of goldy khaki green that I've got there. There we are. So that's now gone. I think I might just add a touch more green. What do you think? That's a bit better, isn't it? So I'm going to paint. I'm going to paint around the conkers, and I think I'm going to do this chap with a resin coat so that he really starts to shine out nicely. And I want a bit of that gold splash that you saw on the other character. So pick up just a small amount on the end of my brush and just sort of flick it lightly over the features. Just sort of rough, so it just pulls out the features and gives him a much more of a 3D effect. Same on the antlers. Not too much because I want to really retain the green feel, but I love green and gold. You can probably tell by what I'm wearing. I love that combination. Not really a silver person, definitely prefer gold. Okay, so there he is. What do you think? Shall I paint the conkers a different colour or leave them natural? I'm just seeing Vicky saying hi. Devar, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sell. Yes, I do sell all of my work. All of my work's available for sale. If you're interested in any of these figures that you've seen, just drop a comment below and I will get back to you. Or you can email me at Claire, that's Claire, Claire at clairevalentineart.com, and I'll get back to you straight away. You can put my name in social media. I come up everywhere. My website will come up. You can find a way to contact me. I'm sure there's a way I can put a link on here actually, but I've not worked it out yet. Anyone know how to do that? Again, let me know. So that's this chap here. So I'm just going to paint where I can see the glue that I used to stick the conkers on with. I'm going to paint around the outside of the conker, just so that I can't see any of that glue. And the same there. Just makes it look sort of it's like the glue's part of the sculpture. I like actually I like the conkers. I like the conkers as they are. I think they look really nice actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave them. We'll see what I say. We'll see what happens. I'll leave all this open. I won't do anything for a couple of days. And I'll wait and see what people say on the comments when maybe they watch the live back later on. And I'll go with the majority decision. So that's this chap. Isn't he absolutely scrumptious? I'll be writing a little story about my pieces shortly. I'm just looking at the comments. How much is the price? I'll private message you. I have got a telephone number. It's easier to email me. That's much easier. It's Claire at clairevalentineart.com. Much easier to get hold of me that way. I try to keep my sort of phone number as private as I can. And if you message me, then I'll be able to let you know what the prices are. So these are the sorts of pieces that I sell at the Festival for Pagans and Witches, which I'll be at again next year. I've also been accepted into the Witch and Fairy Festival that's also in May next year. And I sell all of these pieces online through my website, or you can contact me outside of any of those things and we can talk about price and delivery, etc. So there we are. So you're from Indonesia, Devar. That's going to be a bit difficult for me to post out to, unfortunately. I'm happy to look into it though. It's not impossible. If you get in touch with me, then I'll let you know a price and I can look into potential costs for postage. So that's that chap. And we've got time. Well, I've got time. I hope you have. To do one more. And then this guy here. So these are real acorns that I've used. English oak acorns collected from just down the lane from where I live. There's actually, I think there's four oak trees all in a line. So they must have been a field boundary at one point before the houses were built around it. And these four oaks, to me, they're like a little family. And the big one is at the front where the lane goes past. And these acorns are collected from there. So aren't they lovely? So I'm going to leave those acorn coloured. And again, I've used an invisible glue, and I'm just going to go in and paint out where I can see those glue marks. You can probably see one just there, a little bit of glue there. So it's just about going round, looking to see where the glue marks are, just checking in all of the little nooks and crannies. And put a bit down there. See, when you're working with sculpture and you're working in 3D, you have to have an awareness of all angles of everything. Whereas when I'm painting, I'll just show you actually. When I'm painting, I'm working in 2D. So for this cat, I have to think about the shape of the cat, and I have to try and make the painting give me the 3D effect. But with 3D, here I am back again, you have to keep twisting the sculpture the whole time that you're developing it. Because if you don't, you can make an imbalance. Whereas with a painting, you're looking at the same plane the whole time. So it's easy to see if something's not quite working. But with a sculpture, what I've taught myself and learned over the years is continually move and twist, make sure that all angles are balanced and all angles are catered for. And then it works nicely. So I'm just going to swap to a bigger brush, and I'm going to go in with my blacky green paint, and I'm just painting over the staff that he's holding. Just looking for where I can see like the edge of the material that I've used, for example. And painting that, and then it blends it all in. So he's starting to come together now. And I think he's going to benefit from a bit of gold flashing. So I'm painting his staff now. These bits, knobbly bits, they're actually from the oak, from the same oak. I don't actually know what they are, if I'm honest, but they came with the oak tree anyway, so I'm just painting over that. And this is looking good. with some green into there. There we are. Almost done. And now a bit of gold. So again, just take a light amount of gold on my paintbrush, and then I am just brushing. You're just like catching where there's folds, where there's texture in the sculpture. You're just dabbing on the gold paint, and it really makes the whole sculpture stand out. It gives a real nice 3D effect to the piece. I mean, it's 3D anyway, of course, but when it comes to being able to see the little details, like on his jacket here. So if I just show you, if I just brush just ever so lightly, just literally just tapping across where there's drapes and folds, and it pulls out that detail. Again, same on his face. And it makes him look like he's made of metal, rather than all of the strange and odd recycled bits and pieces that he's actually made of. He's actually made of old doll parts, an old fabric shirt that's been hardened with fabric hardener. He's made of a piece of wood that came with the wood that we buy for our log burner. And as my husband and I were sorting it out, I said, oh, that piece is nice. That's just way too nice to burn. I'll have that. So off it went to the studio, much to my husband rolling his eyes at me. Something else has been seconded and secreted away for being made into something magical. There we are. So he's now ready for his final glaze. And he needs a name as well. I don't know what to call this one yet. But he's definitely a keeper of the woodland. So those are my fantastical fantasy woodland sculptures for today. I'm also working on some other ones as well. We'll do this in another session. These are my little unicorn figures. Again, all made out of sort of reclaimed charity shop purchases. This piece of stone there is from Boscastle. We were in Boscastle in August. We camped quite a lot in the summer, and we went to Boscastle, my favourite place in Cornwall. And I like to collect stones and branches and little pieces of nature from the magical places that I visit, and incorporate them into my sculptures, because for me that imbibes the sculpture with a bit of the magic from the area, and makes them like totally mysterious. So we're going to go into some more of those another time. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time watching me for half an hour, for those that have been here. If you want to get in touch with me, please do. I'll see if I can actually reply to the comments and give you my contact details. Still all quite new to this, to be fair, so thank you for your patience. Still working out all the tech. And there we go. So unicorns to come, and then the final of my collection that I'm working on at the minute, before I have a bit of a break and go back to my paintings, are these little witches. Oh, they're lovely. I'm really pleased with how these have come out. So she's going to be the autumn equinox witch, because she's got a cauldron full. And this one This one's nearly finished. I've just got to do a bit more paintwork on her as well. So lots of work going on, but all part of my magical woodland fantasy figurines. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back again live very, very soon. Bye for now.